your alternative curriculum. I was assigned The Awakening by Kate Chapin, and it's basically a book that focuses on women's issues and feminism.
Did you feel excluded at all?
Yes. And I asked the court, how would you feel if as a young black woman, you were made to stand out in color and in background as the entire classroom discussed the use of a word that throughout history has been created just for the degrading of African Americans, a word that is used to make us feel like less than human. I was humiliated and insulted. No one said for me.
So besides the fact that the N-word was used over 215 times in the book, what else do you feel is extremely racist and made you offended?
What's the N-word? What is that each time that Mr. Twain uses it, he uses it in a derogatory manner. And also, I think it's pretty shameful that that character, Jim, is made to sound dumb and inferior to all the other white characters, and that all the other characters show little to no respect for all the African Americans. And how do you think that makes me and all the other African Americans that have to read the book feel? And there are probably a lot of books that have the N-word in it, but I don't think you need to write a book that's saturated with it.
Is there anything else you'd like to tell the court? That's all.
Prosecution, please present your third witness. I call to stand Beatrice Clark. Please describe yourself.
My name is Beatrice Clark. I am an African American woman that lives in Renton, Washington. I am the grandmother and legal guardian of Celeste Fair.
Your granddaughter stated earlier her response to the school's curriculum and the use of the novel The Adventures of Huckleberry Finn. What was your reaction when you found out that your granddaughter was going to be reading this novel?
I was outraged that such a degrading novel was being taught, and I was going to take it to the school board again.
Again, please name the instances in which this has occurred before.
Objection, Your Honor. They're assuming facts, not evidence, that the novel is degrading.
Objection.
The prosecution has the opportunity to defend that particular objection. Please say that again.
Assuming facts, not evidence, you're assuming that the novel is degrading without providing evidence for it.
Yeah, according to our previous two witnesses, we have shown that the novel is degrading toward African Americans.
You have provided no passages from the book.
That it should be admitted. Their opinion matters to this court.
May I answer, Your Honor?
Objection.
May I respond?
Go ahead, you may respond.
Being an African American woman, I do find this novel degrading, and I believe that I have the right to call it that.
Judge, will you allow the testimony of this witness?
I will allow it.
Objection overruled.
Objection overruled. So why did you take this issue to the school board?
Because of the excessive and extreme racism used in the novel.
How is racism portrayed in this novel?
It is made to sound it is used to make people of the African American race sound inferior and dumb.
Are there any other ways that racism is portrayed?
Yes, there are many.
What is another example?
The constant use of the N-word.
And what does this word mean to you?
This is not just a word. It carries with it the blood of our ancestors. They were called this while they were lynched. They were called this word while they were hung from the big magnolia tree. That word, in the history of America, has always been a degrading term towards African Americans. When they were brought to America, They were never thought of as human beings in the first place. And this word was something that was something to call a thing that wasn't human. And that was the context that it was used in this book.
If you recall the defense's opening statement, they stated that the use of racism in this novel is merely satire. What is your response to this statement?
I think that it is horrifying. The racism of this standard will be taken so lightly. Though considered satire at one time, in 2010 it no longer is. It is degrading and an insult to all people of color. This book should no longer be taught or tolerated.
That is all, Your Honors.
Prosecution, will you please present your fourth witness?
We would like to call to the stand Alderman Robert B. Arden Sr.
Will you please repeat your witness's name?
Alderman Robert B. Evans Sr.
Thank you.
Is it true that you are the only African American elected official in Waukegan?
Yes,
Alderman, who was it that fought Huck Finn being taught in Waukegan?
that would be me.
Is it safe to assume that you have read Huck Finn?
I have,
Have you read the entire book?
no, I read parts of it. It was too offensive for me to continue.
What was the main perpetrator that made you put down the book?
The main perpetrator that, what, that would be his use of the vulgar, offensive word, the N-word. I hate to see it.
Do you think that the racism is satirical as the defense stated in their opening statement?
Definitely not. There is no reason for Mr. Clement to use racism a funny or sarcastic manner. Racism is racism.
Was there anything that offended you?
Definitely.
What would those definite offenses be?
To say a few, I found it very offensive that Jim is always in defense to whites, portraying whites as superior and as Jim being stupid and unable to learn.
How easy was it for you to find these offenses?
It was unnecessarily easy for me. If I opened the book at this moment at a random page, I swear that I could find at least 2 offenses on that page. Simply, it is exceedingly offensive and lends nothing to the values of any child.
Can you explain your above phrase that the book lends nothing to the values of any child?
Certainly, the N-word should never be in a book. It is a word meant for offenses. Secondly, Jim, the slave, is the sole African American in the novel and never seems to reach a point.
Objection, Your Honor. Calls for speculation. He said he hasn't read the entire book, so how can he know if there's anything good in it or not? He may not have read the end.
Do you have anything to say about that?
Yes, because of the use of the N-word, it doesn't mean he needs to read the entire book. The N-word is offensive, no matter what way you use it. And the fact that it's used...
But he said there's nothing good in the book. He can't say there's nothing good if he hasn't read the entire thing.
So you can choose to strike that particular part of his testimony if you like.
What if I side with them? Is that
Then it's objection sustained.
Sustained.
And
Objection
the witness is
sustained.
done. You have the opportunity to redirect though. I mean, if there's other things you want to ask that particular witness that have nothing to do with the book, Huckleberry Finn, you can do so.
No, that was never read.
Prosecution, please present your fifth witness.
We have no more witnesses.
And no more witnesses. Court is now adjourned for the day. Court will open up.
Can we start? We're ready to start.
Let's not start today. You guys can. Find out what's going on.
Defense, would you like to call any
No,
witnesses?
defense isn't going today.
Oh.
Find out with the prosecution if they're done. Otherwise, adjourn the court.
Prosecution, are you finished?
Prosecution, I would like to answer.
We're formulating our answer. Based on our testimony by our 4 witnesses,
Please come to the front of the court if you are going to speak.
Address the court, please.
ladies and gentlemen of the jury, based on the testimony of our 4 witnesses, it is apparent that this word in particular, the N, and the novel, Huckleberry Finn, is for surely promoting racism. I mean, we had all of our 4 witnesses admit to saying that this book promotes racism, regardless of if they read the entire book or not. That isn't the point. The point is that this book promotes racism. And I would like you to consider that while you are deliberating, that even though you didn't read the entire book, they don't have to. Just need to read one passage with the N-word to prove that this book is racist. That is all, Your Honor.
Thank you. Court is now adjourned for the day. Court will reconvene